My girlfriend smiled and said, I still love you, but I want to see someone else too. A guy walked in and smirked. I'm Ben. I chuckled and said, Great, hope he can afford your lifestyle. 3 weeks later, she texted, Ben dumped me, and I'm living in my car. I never thought I'd be sharing this, but here goes. I'm a 38-year-old guy from Seattle, and this is the story of how my relationship took an unexpected turn. I met Sarah at a local coffee shop. She was 35, a freelance graphic designer with a passion for art and hiking. We connected over our love for the outdoors and indie music. Our first date was a hike up Mount Si, and from there, things just clicked. After a year, we moved in together into a cozy apartment in Capitol Hill. Life was good. We shared responsibilities, supported each other's careers, and even adopted a rescue dog named Max. Weekends were filled with farmers markets, brunches, and Netflix marathons. About 6 months ago, I noticed a change in Sarah. She became more distant, often engrossed in her phone or stepping out for work meetings that seemed to last longer than usual. When I asked, she'd assure me everything was fine, just busy with a new client. I trusted her. We had built a life together, and I had no reason to doubt her. 3 weeks ago, on a quiet Sunday morning, Sarah sat me down. She looked nervous, her hands trembling slightly as she spoke. I still love you, she began. But I want to see someone else too. I was stunned. I asked her to explain. She told me about Ben, a guy she met at a networking event. They had been talking, and she felt a connection. She insisted it wasn't about me, but about her need to explore. Before I could process, there was a knock at the door. Sarah opened it, and in walked Ben. Tall, confident, with a smug smile. I'm Ben, he said, extending his hand. I chuckled, more out of disbelief than humor. Great, hope he can afford your lifestyle, I replied. I left the apartment, needing space to think. So I walked out that day with nothing but my keys, my wallet, and the numb feeling in my chest. No yelling. No throwing stuff. Just silence. I didn't even look back. I crashed on my buddy Dave's couch in Ballard. Dave's the kind of guy who doesn't ask questions until you're ready. All he said was, You need a beer or something stronger? I went with stronger. A few days passed. I didn't hear from Sarah. Not a word. Not even to check on Max, our dog. That pissed me off more than anything else. That dog was like our kid. We rescued him together, trained him, loved him. Now she's playing house with a new guy and ignoring him? Then something weird happened. I stopped by the apartment one afternoon when I knew she'd be at work. I still had a key. Max ran to me like I'd been gone a year. Tail wagging, jumping, whining, the whole thing. I took him for a walk around Volunteer Park, sat on a bench, and tried to make sense of things. When I came back, there was a car parked in front of the building I didn't recognize. Ben's car, I guessed. I walked past it and noticed a duffel bag in the back seat. Whatever. I didn't care. Until I walked inside and heard them arguing. I froze in the hallway. Her voice was loud. No, Ben, you said we'd get a place. You said I didn't need to worry. He said something I couldn't make out, and then louder. This isn't my problem. I didn't sign up for this. I should have left. I really should have. But I knocked on the door. Silence. Then the door opened a crack, and there she was. Sarah. Mascara smudged, hair in a mess, looking nothing like the version of her Ben probably fell for. She didn't say anything. I just said, Max needs food. His bag's empty. She nodded. I stepped in, grabbed the dog food from the pantry, and walked out. That was it. But that moment stayed with me. Something was off. 2 days later, she texted me. No. Hi. No. How are you? Just this. Ben dumped me and I'm living in my car. All caps. Like she was screaming through the screen. I stared at the text for a solid minute. Then I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was pathetic. She chose this. She blew up our life for some dude who bailed on her the second things got real. I didn't reply. An hour later, another text. I don't know what to do. Then, can I come stay with you? Just for a few days? No apology. No acknowledgement of what she did. I didn't answer right away. I sat with it for hours. I talked to Dave. He said, Dude, you let her back in, even for a second, you'll never get rid of her. But part of me still cared. That's the messed up part. So I said, one night. Couch only. That's it. She showed up 30 minutes later, looking like she hadn't slept in days. She didn't have much, just a backpack, a pillow, and some clothes. Max went nuts when he saw her, and I swear I almost cried seeing that. Stupid dog didn't understand what she did. That night she crashed on the couch without a word. I lay in Dave's guest room staring at the ceiling. Around 3 a.m., I heard the floor creak. Then a whisper. Can I sleep in here? I didn't say anything. She stood at the door in an old hoodie and shorts, looking more like the Sarah I met years ago than the one who dumped me. I finally said, No. Couch. She nodded and walked away. The next morning, she tried to make coffee like nothing happened. You still take it with almond milk? She asked. I didn't answer. She kept trying to talk all day. Told me Ben had never planned to move in with her. That he was seeing other women. That he made her feel special, and then just didn't. I listened, but I didn't comfort her. That night, I made her a blanket bed on the floor next to Max's crate. She didn't argue. Here's where it gets worse. 2 days later, I come home from work and her stuff's gone. All of it. Even the stupid pillow. So is Max. No note. No message. Nothing. I called her. No answer. I texted. No reply. The next morning, she finally wrote back. I'm sorry. I didn't know what else to do. I need him. I'll bring him back soon. I promise. I lost it. I called her over and over. She never picked up. That's when I realized she didn't come back to me because she was sorry. She came back because she needed something. Just like Ben. Max wasn't hers to take. He was ours. And now she was holding him hostage because her life fell apart. I gave her 2 days. No word. No Max. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I drove to her sister's place in West Seattle, where I knew she sometimes stayed. I'd met her sister, Nina, a couple of times before. She wasn't a fan of mine, and I didn't care for her either. But this was about Max. Nina opened the door just enough to glare at me. She's not here, she said before I even spoke. I just want my dog. She rolled her eyes. Sarah's not even allowed to keep pets at the shelter she's staying in. Shelter? That word hit different. You serious? I asked. She's been sleeping in her car, at the beach. I told her to come here, but she's too proud. Where's Max? She shrugged. She said she was going to a friend's. No clue. I stood there for a second, trying to hold in the rage boiling under my skin. My dog was with someone I didn't know, and my ex-girlfriend was bouncing between parking lots. I drove straight to the beach, Alki. Walked the whole damn strip. No sign of her car. No Max. I almost gave up until I saw her little gray hatchback tucked under a tree near the boat launch. I knocked on the window. She jumped, looked startled. Then slowly rolled it down. You took my dog. I'm sorry, she whispered. Where is he? Her eyes welled up. At Ben's. I took a step back. You said he dumped you. He did. But he said he'd help me get back on my feet. He offered to keep Max for a while. My stomach turned. You gave my dog to the guy you cheated on me with? I didn't give him. It's temporary. I didn't yell. I didn't cause a scene. I just stared at her like she was a stranger. Then I turned around and walked straight to my car. I drove to Ben's place. He lived in a fancy condo near South Lake Union. I'd never been inside, but I remembered the building. We once passed it when Sarah and I were out walking, and she pointed it out like it was some kind of dream. I parked a block away and waited. About 10 minutes later, I saw him. Walking Max? The audacity. I stepped out and called, "Max." My dog turned and ran to me like he'd been shot out of a cannon. Ben just stood there, stunned. "Hey," he started. "I'm taking my dog," I said, snapping Max's leash on. "You don't get to play rescue hero." He raised his hands. "Was just helping." I didn't say another word. Max and I walked back to the car. He didn't look back. Neither did I. I blocked Sarah's number that night. She crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. But of course, she found other ways. 3 days later, I came home and found a sticky note on my front door. It just said, "I'm pregnant." No signature. Just that. I stared at it, heart pounding. The timing added up. Maybe. Maybe not. I called Dave out of panic. He didn't say much, just, "You better get a test." Next morning, another knock at my door. It was her. Hair greasy, hoodie too big, eyes hollow. I meant what I said. I didn't invite her in. We stood in the hallway while she told me everything. She didn't know for sure. She hadn't seen a doctor yet. Just a test from the drugstore. I told her to leave and get an actual test. Then I'd talk. She left without arguing. I honestly didn't expect that. A week passed. No updates. Then an email, yes, email, because I still had her blocked everywhere else. Subject: "It's not yours." Just that. The email was short. Turns out she'd been seeing Ben before she ever told me. It started months earlier. The dates didn't line up. It was his. Ben wasn't returning her calls. The guy who made her feel seen dumped her. Twice. And now she was alone. Really alone. And for a moment, I felt something weird. Not anger. Not pity. Relief. She wasn't my problem anymore. But still. I kept the sticky note. Taped it inside a drawer. I don't know why. Maybe to remind myself how fast things can change. Or maybe, because somewhere deep down, I knew this wasn't the last twist. I thought it was over. The pregnancy scare had been the last punch. I kept my distance. She drifted farther. Weeks passed. I went back to normal, sort of. I went to work, walked Max, avoided places I might run into her. I started talking to someone new, nothing serious. Just dinner, coffee, someone to laugh with. Then came Nina. She called me one Saturday morning, which was weird, since she never liked me much. "Are you free today?" "Why?" "She's unraveling. I can't deal with her alone." I should have said no. But instead, I drove to Nina's apartment in West Seattle, again. Same place. Different storm. Sarah was there. Sitting on the floor, knees to her chest, surrounded by empty Red Bull cans and some kind of frozen food she hadn't bothered to heat up. Her eyes were glassy. Not drunk, just gone. Nina gave me the look. That. "She won't listen to me, maybe she'll listen to you." "Look." I sat across from her. She didn't even look at me. "You okay?" I asked. She laughed. "Do I look okay?" "No." Silence. "I lost my job," she said. "The last freelance client dropped me. I'm behind on my car. I can't sleep. Ben blocked me. I think I need help." It was the first time she'd said that. Not an excuse. Not blaming someone else. Just help. I said, "You should have said something sooner." She looked at me for the first time. I was ashamed. Then came the twist. "I lied to you," she whispered. "About the baby. I mean, yeah, the test was positive. But I don't know whose it was. I didn't want to be alone." I stared at her, feeling the floor drop out from under me again. "So you pinned it on me?" I thought maybe you'd stay if you thought it was yours. Nina turned and walked out of the room. She'd heard enough. I stood up. You really don't get it, I said. You blew up your life, my life, all for what? A guy who fed you a few sweet lines and ran the minute things got hard? I know. You used everyone around you to feel better. Me. Ben. Even Max. She started to cry, but I didn't stop. You don't love anyone. You love being loved. That's it. Her face broke completely. But there was no rage left in me. Just exhaustion. Then came the moment I didn't expect. She grabbed my hand. I still love you. I pulled away. I don't believe you. Outside, Nina was pacing, phone in hand. She looked at me and asked, What did she say? She needs help, I said. Not from me. And I left. I didn't storm out. I didn't slam the door. I just walked. That night, I got a long email from Sarah. She told me she was checking herself into a facility. Said she wanted to figure things out, rebuild, start fresh. No drama. No requests. Just truth. I replied a few days later. I said I wished her well. That I hoped she found peace. But I was done. Dave and I had a beer that weekend, and he said, Man, if your life was a movie, nobody would believe half this shit. And he's right. There were days I hated her. Days I missed her. Days I wondered if I'd ever really known her. But I learned something. People show you who they are. You just have to listen the first time. Max still sleeps on my side of the bed. He's the only constant in all of this. As for me, I'm doing okay. Dating again. Slowly. Carefully. And I've stopped trying to figure out why people destroy their own lives. Sometimes they just do. I don't know if Sarah's okay. I hope she is. I hope she gets better, for her own sake. But I'm not waiting around to find out. I'm moving on. For real this time.